I just felt old. I felt old. I felt like this is just it, you know? Maybe in a few years, when I'm making a little bit more money, then I can start life again. Then I can go travel. Then I can do X, Y, and Z. Right now, though, this is just it for right now. Hi everybody, it's Lola. In this video, I'm going to be talking about quitting my 9-to-5 job and moving to South Korea. So before I moved here, I was working in substance abuse admissions. So, when somebody needed help for drug abuse, they'd give us a call, we'd help them get placed. And in this job, it was an office job. I was making about $50K a year before taxes. And I was satisfied with how much I was making, honestly. And I was happy with the standard of living that I had and where I was at in life with that. But something was just missing. So I'm 25 now, and I think before I came here, I was experiencing a little bit of what we kind of talk about as a quarter life crisis, where I just felt like, I'm at the midpoint now, the midpoint of my 20s, and there's so much time that has already passed and so much that I haven't done yet. And I kept thinking about how, when I was in college, I'd always wanted to go move to a different country. I always wanted to go study abroad. And I'd had an opportunity actually to go to Germany, but COVID happened. And so that, 2 years of our lives pretty much were just swept out from underneath the rug because of that. So I had this sense that my life was kind of settling down into this sort of like rote boringness, which on one hand I appreciated, but on the other hand, I needed something to kind of shake things up a little bit. I needed to be challenged. One of the things that I was dealing with when I sort of started contemplating this move was this feeling like I might be too old, or, that it is a little bit too late to do something adventurous. Like, I'm already sort of on this right track, career-wise, money-making-wise. Maybe now it's time to sort of lock it down, lock in, and focus more on saving and building up for the future. But I didn't want my life to pass me by without ever having tried to do something like this. I think that had really planted the seed for me to come here. So before, I was looking into switching from my linguistics degree, because I have an applied linguistics degree. I was thinking about switching to something more computer science with like computational linguistics. And so I had a friend who was like, oh, I know somebody that works in computational linguistics. She gave me her LinkedIn. I messaged her and just to call and just do a call and just kind of see how she did what she did. And as I was talking to her about this, she mentions to me that after college, she went and taught English in Korea. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's something that I'd always wanted to do. And she was like, yeah, this was the best decision I could have ever made. And so that really got me thinking, at the end of the day, I'm here for a year. I'm here on a teaching visa. My contract is 1 year. And, I can obviously stay longer if I'd like to, but just 1 year of my life to have this pivotal life-changing experience, I think is going to be worth it in the long run. Because at the end of my life, when I'm sitting on a rocking chair and just thinking about everything that I ever did, I mean, am I really going to be sitting there like, so glad that I looked at spreadsheets in Excel for 8 hours a day? Like, no. So I think it's definitely worth it. So as I mentioned before, I am here to teach English. That is one of the ways to come here. I think one of the other ways is an entertainment visa, which a lot of, models and content creators get. I wouldn't really know much about how to go about that. So I'm here as an English teacher. When I was in college, I actually studied applied linguistics, and I got my TEFL certification, but you don't necessarily need that. Some schools might ask for it. For others, it's just kind of like a bonus that you have it. I don't think that any of my current coworkers have a TEFL certification. So it is relatively easy. You just need to make sure that you have a college degree. a bachelor's degree, as that is a requirement for the actual visa. So it's the government wants you to have that college degree, not necessarily the schools. So there's two ways to go about this. There's the EPIC program, or you can teach at a Hagwon. So the EPIC program is essentially going through the public school system. You are typically placed wherever they place you in whatever part of the country. You don't really have much of a choice. And then the pay is typically less, but you get more vacation. While in a Hagwon, you have more choice over the actual location. And there you have a little bit more leeway. So for example, I came here with my cat, and EPIC would not allow you to bring a pet, but the Hagwon would be able to, get you a living situation where you would be able to have a pet. Even though mine didn't, they just didn't tell the landlord that I have a cat. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, so that's typically what happens a lot here. But from what I understand, they can't really evict you within the span of a year. So, if there was any issue with the landlord knowing that I have a pet, it shouldn't really affect me, and it wouldn't really affect me at this point until after my contract was over. So, there's that. But yeah. So I came here. I am currently on my 3rd month here. My salary is, so I receive 2.5 million won every month, which is roughly about 1900 US dollars. So, these first 3 months have been a little bit tough. So they are taking money out of my paycheck for the security deposit for my apartment. So they're taking about 300,000 won, which is, maybe around like 200 something dollars out of my paycheck. Last month they took it, and then this month they took it as well. And then they also double charged me this month for my insurance and pension. So this month I'm a little bit low. And then the first month, they don't pay you at all. You get paid once a month. So I had to make sure that I had some money saved up to bring here in order to kind of survive that first month. And then I get paid the month after. It's a little bit short. Same thing the next month. But next month, I should be getting my full paycheck with just, 1 month's pension, insurance, and taxes taken out. So I'm excited about that. I came here, I had about 2,000 US dollars saved up just for, first month kind of settling in money. And I didn't even use all of it. I actually still have some of it left. I would say that probably about 1,500 US dollars is enough for 1 month here, especially because the Hagwon actually covers, the school pays for my rent here. So, and the same thing would happen if you were on EPIC. So your rent is covered. So the rest of what you're receiving is just your money. You pay for your utility bills and things like that, but they're not going to exceed more than like $10 a month, basically. So it's really cost effective, actually. And with what I've been receiving right now, money-wise, I feel like I very much have the same standard of living, possibly even better than I had in the US, because I have money for all my fun little like cafe, restaurant outings with my friends. I have money for clothes. Healthcare is so cheap. I went without insurance. Probably the visit cost me like $15. You know what I mean? And same with the cost of going to the vet. Going to the vet is super cheap here as well. I've never had to pay more than like 30,000 won for a checkup, and that was in Itaewon, where there is a lot of foreigners and tourists, so they kind of hike up the prices a little bit. And 30,000 won, I mean, that's like maybe like 25-ish dollars. So that has been really nice. I'm kind of getting everything done. I just went to the dentist finally and got a cleaning for the first time in 6 years because it was so cheap. It was like $18. It was like 20,000 won, probably less than $18. So I'm really loving that here. And I live in Seoul, so just the walkability itself. I mean, there's cafes on every corner. You can't even walk 10 feet without there being a little cafe where you can sit and get a cute little strawberry latte or something and a nice cake. And it's just, and I become so close with my coworkers, which has really been so amazing. Because, these schools, especially the Hagwons, especially the private schools, you'll read about those, and there's some questionable, sketchy stuff that goes on, and I could make a video about that. But I'm not going to, because I'm still working there. So, yeah. But, yeah, so they don't care about you. You really have to fight for yourself and be resilient. And you're also working probably more than you're used to working in the US. If you're used to a 40-hour work week right now, I'm working a 45-hour work week. And that's pretty typical here. And I knew that coming in, so I had accepted that. And I think because of how rich my social life is right now, with being friends with my coworkers and being able to go out with them after work, like they've really become my best friends. I think that makes the actual differences in the work culture with the Korean one maybe being a little bit, how do I say this? Maybe harder than what I'm used to. I don't even know. There's it kind of, I feel like it asks for a little bit more from the employee than what I'm used to. But my friends really helped me make it through. What's kind of funny is, and I don't think the school was expecting this, but we all became so close and have sort of unofficially unionized. So anytime, something happens and we all don't agree with it, it's kind of very easy to have each other's back and have 4 people be like, actually, no, this is not happening. We're not going to do this. So that has been a very interesting experience just to see how that whole dynamic is playing out. And I feel like that is going to be something that will be useful for me in the future with future jobs too. So that's definitely an experience that I would not have received had I not come here. But yeah, back to just the friends that I've made. Earlier I talked about sort of feeling a little bit empty at 25. It's not like I didn't have friends and didn't have interests and a job that I liked, kind of, and things to do. But there was a degree of emptiness, I think. And what was it? How could I describe it? I just felt old. I felt old. I felt like this is just it, Maybe in a few years, when I'm making a little bit more money, then I can start life again. Then I can go travel. Then I can do X, Y, and Z. Right now, though, this is just it for right now. For the next few years, I've got to lock it down, Oh, and I better make sure that I do all that traveling before I start a family and have kids. It's putting way too much pressure on myself. And I think that this experience has acted as a little bit of a pressure relief valve for that. And what's really beautiful about this is I feel my age again. I was not really going out that much back home, and I didn't think that I missed it. But we were all out in Hongdae the other night, just looking for a taxi at like 4 a.m. on a dirty cigarette littered street. And I was just walking around, and I just kind of did that thing, when you zone in sort of on like a little spot and just start thinking. And I was just like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. With these people doing something chaotic at some ungodly hour. And I don't even drink. I just missed that little impishness, that impish kind of chaotic feeling, I think. Going out and being silly with your friends. I hadn't had that in so long, and it's tough when you work, I think, and when, especially as you get into later into your 20s, you and your friends are at such different, can be at very different points in your life. So maybe somebody's got kids, they can't just go out, and that's okay. But for me personally, I think just the going out, the making time for little after work plans, midweek chills, things like that has made such a difference. I think my social life is much more rich here than it was back home, and it matters. It really matters. Yeah, aside from that, there have been some things going on at work too, which have been quite interesting. Like I mentioned before, Hagwons, they can be a little shady. For me, one of the big issues, and this isn't necessarily a shady thing, but they put us all up in apartments that were not necessarily up to standard. So my first apartment basically I was coughing ever since I got here. And it was like really bad. Like 2 months of coughing is a problem. You need to go get that checked out. And so I'm coughing every single night. I don't know what it is, just gaslighting myself, telling myself I'm getting used to the environment, getting used to the different allergens, getting used to the air pollution. And then I saw a little bit of mold. And so I ordered something to clean it with. And I decided to move my wardrobe out to check if there was any behind it. Black mold all up the corner of the wall. So that's a huge problem here, and you need to be very careful, because even if you don't get any of the severe neurotoxicity effects from it, like it's just, you're not supposed to cough for more than like a few weeks, and that sucked. So I pretty much went down. I threatened to quit because I really was about to quit. I was about to go home. I was like, I can't keep affecting my health negatively like this. I almost didn't come into work that day, but then they put me up in a hotel, so I asked them to, and they got me a new apartment in the same building, which is the one you see here, and it's actually so much nicer. I really love it in here. So now that I have the apartment situated, honestly, it's been really great. So little things like that, but if you do come here, you have to remember to stick up for yourself, because there will come a time where some BS happens, and you cannot be afraid to make sure that they know that you know that this is BS, and you will not tolerate it, because otherwise they'll take advantage. They will take advantage. So this is definitely helping me build up some resilience and some confidence in myself. I think it's really hard for a lot of people, and especially women, to be okay with being the bad guy sometimes, or like feeling like the bad guy, even though you're not. We just convince ourselves that we are, because we have to be nice and agreeable, and it's so scary when it's just you in a foreign country and you don't have family. No one's there to help you. Probably, most likely, don't speak the language. I don't. I'm still learning. So it's hard, and they should really, do their due diligence and set you up for comfort and success, because, and by they I mean the schools, because they need you. They make money from you, right? A native English teacher who picked up your whole life and brought it here for them to benefit from. So know your worth and make sure others know it too. So yeah, I think another perspective change that I've had since moving here is that the world has started to feel bigger, smaller and bigger at the same time for me. So I picked up my life and moved it to the opposite side of the world. But now that I've already done that, I could do it again, if that makes sense. So now I'm thinking about like, well, what if I lived in Spain for a year? Maybe I could get a remote work from home job, things like that. And maybe this thought process is like, okay, you're listening to this and you're like, okay, yeah, everyone thinks that. But these are not things that I was thinking about like 3 years ago, 2 years ago even. They were not possibilities for me. So coming here has changed my perspective to where I can now think in different possibilities that initially my brain had not unlocked yet. And the last thing I want to say is that coming here has been such a good exercise in overcoming my fears. So I had the fear that I was running out of time, that I wasn't going to make enough money, that I was going to hinder myself in my development. And upon coming here, I realized none of that is true. I have so much time, okay? I have enough money to survive and have fun, and next month I'll probably be able to save once they stop taking out the deposit money for the apartment. I'll probably be able to save just as much as I did when I was back home, and it's not too late. I'm actually the youngest one of my coworkers. And I would encourage anybody watching this video, if you are afraid of something, maybe afraid of like one big long-term goal, all you need to do is complete one, and then the rest of them become easier. All you need to do is complete one long-term goal, face one fear, do one thing that's just a huge pain in the ass, and then everything else falls in place. So yeah, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and I will see you next time.